Right. So, as I was alluding to, and Haley actually also made this in the presentation, um, here's what my pitch is to all of the families out there. As I said, the individual mutations your children have may or may not act similarly. They may group in some ways into some different ways that the gene is working, and there may be clusters, but it may be that each person really needs to have their child represented in the research. And by that, there are two dimensions that I think are important. So number one, I think it's important for us to know what your particular child's challenges and strengths and medical issues are. That's one of the dimensions. But the other is that researchers, as Haley said, are wanting to make induced pluripotential stem cells and model essentially cells from your child in a dish in the laboratory. Now, if there is quite a bit of difference between different children and different mutations, it will be important to have a library with as many of those different cells from as many different children as possible to make it easy for researchers essentially to study your child. They won't know your name. They won't know who you are. They won't be able to come and find you or anything, but it will be very important to have your child represented. And so one thing I was actually thinking about, and Haley, we can talk about this offline, is at least in the United States, we have ways of being able to get blood samples from your child, and we can either have you go to, a local place in your city, or we may have a way of, at an event, being able to collect blood samples. For families who are outside of the United States, it's a little bit more challenging, but I'm committed. We will figure out some way of being able to do this to make sure we have the community represented. So those are the two ways, and as I said, we can follow up with more specifics with the community afterwards if there's interest.